Good afternoon. My name is Kirsty Dignam, and I'm here to talk about the not weekly energies, not collective energies. What am I here to talk about? I'm here to talk about energy, actually, and how to best navigate that this week. Gosh, it's trippy. It is really trippy. Ever since, I don't know about anyone else, but ever since the Aquarian full moon, I knew there were going to be second opportunities because it was a blue moon. So I knew it was going to be about things that happen once in a blue moon, and to really look at that. And what's come up for me is the prospect of running workshops again. And these workshops have been, I don't want to say in the background, in my aura for some years now. And they've taken great patience, but what they've also taken is walking them first, understanding the journey first before I share it with others. Really opening up to the reality of expansion, the vaster perception of it all, including my own. And that feels quite poignant this week, to really open up to the vast, I want to say, illusion that is occurring, and look at our own as well, look at our own stories here. So an example of this, I'm writing a workshop for womb wisdom, and I have my own stories in relation to this, being a woman, being a midwife, being a mother. But the moment I set the intention to start writing up this course, gosh, the download of information that was coming from many wombs, my own and the cosmic womb, was huge. And like all creation, it takes a process. So we get the idea, the clarity comes, we then start to shift, adapt, mold, resonate with things, heal certain aspects of ourselves, and then make it a physical reality. That's on different levels. So the workbook that I'm producing at the moment is definitely part of the physical reality, but the other aspects are my own reality within what it is I'm teaching, within what it is I'm sharing, my own place here. This week in particular, let's bring it back. That's what feels quite poignant, is to keep bringing it back, to take stock of where we are in each moment, because the doors that are opening are huge. The potential is incredible. The information, I have never known anything like it. But what came through this morning is I just haven't been aware of what it is I knew until I walked the path. So regardless what is coming in this week, it isn't something that you don't already know from the experience of who you are and where you've been. This week feels like a final exam to realise that. When I look around, I'm seeing many different dimensions, and I'm dreaming of timelines and galactic energy. And 10 years ago, this stuff came up, throughout my life, but definitely 10 years ago, and it just sent me cuckoo. Being a very rational minded individual back then, although I am now, I couldn't fit it into boxes. I couldn't make black or white of it, head nor tail of it, and my whole reality came crashing down. It's occurring again. In truth, it occurs in every moment, but it's occurring again at the same level. And what I'm hearing is the end of the Mayan calendar, in particular, for those that remember. I remember December the 21st, 2012, just being sat, feeling like life would never be the same again, and it really wasn't. And that's coming up again. The difference is you've walked it. The difference is you've done it. The difference is this isn't actually new to you now. It may feel like it is, to show areas that just need a bit more confidence in and holding space for, but this isn't actually new to us now. The potential for our own reality has always been there. Thank you. I can see a bit of a structure now in our energy. In order to change our vibration, or not even change our vibration, to step into the vibration of who we are on a soul level, it takes acceptance. The word I've been given today is an awareness rather than acceptance. I do fully appreciate, for understandable reasons, many of us struggle with the word acceptance because we are taught that this means we change nothing. We are taught that this means that is how it is and there's nothing we can do about it. Acceptance is acceptance of every moment. And when we accept every moment or have an awareness, a presence of every moment, we then have an awareness and presence in every potential. Through acceptance, we don't give something a story. We don't give something a human understanding. We take it further than that. And in that space, we hold space. We witness. We observe. We can get out of our own heads and allow a much vaster, bigger energy to come in. And with that, a much bigger, vaster potential, a bigger door. So yes, many, many, many doors opening up this week in particular. And it feels up until the thinning of the veil in October, but this week in particular, many, many doors opening, but they are all of the one door. They are all of the one vision. They are all of that one thing that you've been striving for. I am downloading workshop after workshop after workshop. The human part of me wonders why I would bother doing this. I have no space to run them. I don't know the hows, the wheres, the whats. Go beyond that, because that's limited by our potential. If we stopped doing things because we didn't have all the facts, nothing would be done. So going beyond that and just feeling into what we are drawn to create in every moment, and trusting that co-collaboration with the universe and with all creativity, taking time for the stages. So many times I have people coming to me saying, this is what I want, this is what I've put in place, nothing has changed. And very much it is about waiting for that wave to return, sending out the intention, waiting for the answer that is true for you. Not the answers that are given for others, this video included, but the answer that is true for you. The wave, the contraction that's going to help you deliver. Really waiting for that now. Being honest with yourself and honest with your body. What resonates? Where am I? We can only figure that out by accepting with an awareness where we actually are. That isn't always comfortable. You know, yesterday I ended up finally seeking medical help for my knee and for the boil under my arm, and much as I may not like to admit it, it turned out, yes, I did need medical help, antibiotics, and I have bursitis in my knee and possibly arthritis. Never a nice thing to accept, never a nice thing to acknowledge, but at this present moment, my truth. And it is about having an awareness with that right now. What is going on? Take stock, take a picture of this part of your life so that you can remember A, how far you've come when you get to your future self, but also realize how far you have come from your past self as well. Timelines are always explained to me in the infinity symbol, in the number 8, us being in the center, the past and the present, and the future, but they are always interwoven. They are always moving. How do we find any structure or root or grounding in this vast, expansive energy? The presence, and allowing the past and the future to go through that. Being aware, accepting this present moment. I was having a conversation with a dear friend of mine today, and it is this almost crone-like aspect of a cycle, the void, the cosmic womb, that being still, that is so avoided by society, which leaves us in a constant fight or flight mode. When animals experience fight or flight, they also experience a freezing aspect. For some it takes moments, for others it can be quite a long time, where the body reboots and recalibrates to their truth. Otherwise, you imagine a deer has been hunted, it runs, it gets the adrenaline, it moves forward, it does what it needs to do. If it doesn't stop and pause, it constantly runs, keeps moving forward, feels as if it's in fear all the time, this need to do, be, you know, fix, I must change. A deer will stop once it's safe. Emphasis on once it's safe. I'm not saying walk away from your jobs right now. I'm not saying walk away from every relationship that you have because it's caused these emotions to rise in you. I'm not saying with the awareness of The Aquarian full moon, you finally decided what you want and the rest can just go jump. What I'm saying is stop, pause, take stock. A deer will shake off the effect. It will reboot. And I think it's the polar bear that actually stops for 10 minutes or 20 minutes. It freezes. It allows the body to recalibrate. It allows the body to be present. It allows the body to be aware of a much expanded potential. I'm alive. I haven't been hunted. Breathe, pause, start again. And that feels really poignant this week. The only way to navigate such a wild, vast ocean of opportunity is to float, to take those moments where we pause and we be. So I am going to do the cards today. I am going to look at the energy. And in order to do that, there is a relevance to the Mayan energy here. For myself, there was an awful lot of past lives yesterday in relation to that coming through. Back to 2012, but also back to the ability, whenever I connect to Mayan energy, it's very similar to the Heyoka energy, and it is crazy energy. It is off the charts energy. And I'm really, really feeling that. And yeah, I just want to say woe betide anyone that wants to try and make sense of that energy into a much smaller box, because it's just going to, like the Tower card, destroy everything that we thought was real, everything we fought. Yeah, everything that we're fighting for, it will destroy if it doesn't come from a place of this vast energy right now, this humanitarian, Aquarian, greater good type energy. It will just be destroyed. It's time to be bigger. It's time to think bigger, to feel bigger, to see bigger. So I'm going to use some cards today that I've got, and they are Mayan inspired cards, and they are very, very trippy. So what are we going to do when we have this trippy energy? We're going to put our feet on the floor. We're going to feel into our bottom on the chair and this presence, and just bring your shoulders down and just breathe already. Just breathe. Okay. So, I'm very aware in this pack somewhere is the cover cards, and I didn't take them out beforehand, but it feels quite relevant. I've just pulled the curtains behind me. There are certain aspects to be seen this week and certain aspects not to be seen, or not ready yet to be seen. Not because they're not true, not because, yeah, I'm just going to say it, because of our level of perception. Certain aspects not ready to be seen because of our level of perception right now. So the curtain that I've closed is the curtain to my heart, which is interesting. Covering of the heart this week. Why? I'm looking at astrology and I've got a book called Astrology and Lovers and a Dream Time. Not all of our desires are shared by others, and that's okay. We all understand life from the level of our own perspective, and if that is that person's truth, that is their truth. It is more about standing in your own truth here and protecting it if you need to, albeit with a very thin veil, a very thin curtain, but protecting your heart this week in particular. How do we do that? How do we protect our energy? By standing in our own energy, by standing in the vastness of our own energy, by being in the presence of the vastness and expansion of our own love. That automatically protects us. Okay. Awful lot of past lives coming up this week in particular. This morning I was very drawn to use the Phoenix cards. I'm hearing, so why didn't you? Okay, maybe in a moment. Yeah, it's not in a moment, it's now. So the Phoenix cards that I have are past life cards, and I need to pull one now. When you're in the moment, the guidance, the potential, the messages, it just really opens up. And if we can be in the moment and act in the moment, everything aligns and we get what we need. So there's a Mayan priest right on the top. Oh, you just couldn't write that, could you? A Mayan priest right on the top. Okay. And now I'm almost feeling like, oh, I really should have took that message. But trusting that if that's meant to be, it will come back. There may be an essence of that this week. I really should have acted on that. So for argument's sake, with the courses that I'm writing workshops for at the moment, they've been in my aura for some time. And yes, I can look back and say, I should have done it then. I should have done it then. I should have acted on that. But it is about trusting the value, yes, the lesson of experience. It's one thing to talk about things. It's another to actually walk the path and share that. Sharing of experience, you know, taking it deeper, taking the learning deeper. So I didn't get the Mayan one back out. I've got a hand. And we'll look at what this is in a minute. But this hand is almost frozen in time. And what I'm being reminded of is the handprints on the cave. It's glass, it's reflective, but it's also crystalline. And it almost has a hole in the centre where, like a portal, where a vast universe can come through here, but it's very grounded in the earth. And that on the hill behind it looks like a serpent. It's a path, but it looks like a serpent, and it's almost like the path of transformation, that wisdom that we hold in our hands, sharing that forward now. And as I say so, my own hands are so sharing that healing, interesting, across the screen, okay? And then next to it, we have the stages of the goddess, the moon here, and being open to the stages within us. Okay, so really being aware of all stages of creativity, all stages of life, the experiences that we gain by experiencing all stages. When we look at a world that is too busy to be still, what experiences are we losing out on? What healing are we losing out on? What creative potential are we missing out on? You know, this statue herself actually has an empty womb, an empty space here that holds all the stages. So when we go into this place of the void, or the Tao, or the like that place of reboot, or the cosmic womb, when we go into that place, when we just stop, you know, something that is so looked down on in society that it has to come from hurting our knee or, you know, getting boils under our armpits, or, you know, illness or dis-ease or whatever, when we just stop and become an open vessel for whatever it is that needs to come through in that vastness, anything is possible. Really, really looking at what we are missing out by constantly doing, constantly trying to figure things out, constantly trying to heal or get more of. If we're trying to get more of something, we're coming from a place of lack, because it isn't enough. That's the cold, hard truth of it. If there's more that we want, I'm not saying not expand, I'm not saying not grow, but if we can't do that from a place of acceptance, awareness of where we are, it's the hungry ghost. We're constantly trying to feed something that will never be enough. It's the hand. Stop, pause, reflect, look, just look where you are now. Say no more to whatever it is that is bringing up this feeling of lack, that is stopping you from connecting to your soul, to the present moment, to the earth, to life, to life. So it is in the Phoenix cards, which is about past lives. So let's just have a little look, although I hear there's no need, but well, the good thing about trying to find the answers is it does pause the video for a second, doesn't it? Okay, the hand symbol, probe into the unknown. The hand effigy made of mica that was taken from a Hopewell Indian burial mound in southern Ohio. Mica is a fragile mineral that the Hopewell Indians obtained through trade with tribes from the Blue Ridge Mountains in North Carolina. It has a high luster like silver and was used for hand and animal cutouts, ceremonial objects, mirrors, jewellery and sacred graveside decorations. I'm just wondering if my own mother's headstone will be replaced soon. The use of mica is prevalent in burial mounds of the Hopewell Indians. So this basically goes back to the time of 1000 BD, and it talks about the groups and the traits. Okay, so I see where they're going. Very little is known about these mysterious mound builders. They obviously developed a rich culture based on cults of the dead, similar to the ancient Egyptians. Okay. So if we've chosen this, we are a person that loves to dream and investigate and have a serious interest in the ancient world and the arcane knowledge of any kind, forever expanding our own world by following natural curiosity and the need to know. Difficult to pinpoint what fascinates you most, and your interests take you down many paths and lead you in many diverse directions. Extremely sharp and imaginative mind, creativity, innovation. You believe it, therefore it is true. It is as simple to you as that. For the most part, you seem dreamy to others, but your visions are not without reason and substance. What others see as sheer fantasy is your progressive glimpse into the future. What is fantasy now will be reality tomorrow. That feels very poignant. There was two aspects there that really stood out to me. One, about the culture of embracing death. What is death? Death is what needs to occur in order for change to be born. Death is the end of the old. Death is something that we are asking for. We are asking for change of how things were. Death is acceptance. Without that acceptance, without that awareness of death's place within change, there is no change. I'm very aware that last week I was speaking about death and rebirth and its place in change. This week in particular, it feels like almost on a deeper level, how can we move forward if we cannot feel into the very things that are shifted, if we're constantly running, if we're constantly doing, constantly trying to get the next thing, we are doing it from a weaker level of truth. We haven't accepted what has actually occurred yet. Death is the crone, the sage, the elder, the void, the womb, the place of stillness, the place of nothingness. Do not fear this place within you. Do not fear this uncertainty. Really, really connect to it this week in all that you do. You know, something as simple as, like I'm always saying, eat your food and truly taste your food. Be in the arms of your lovers and be in their arms. Let go of everything else. Be present. Die in order to really, really live. The other thing that came out about this was the reality aspect. It can be hard when you're holding a vision that doesn't seem as if it's ever going to occur in the real world. But that's none of our business. What's our business is our reality and our truth, and all the time we stand in that. You know, there are so many things that have occurred in this lifetime that many would never have believed possible, but that are now our reality. Keep going with your dreams and your visions. Reflect back the insecurities or disbeliefs of others to who they belong to. Enough. Including our own thoughts, including our own sabotages. That's what I want to say. So we also had the moon goddess. So let's have a little look. I'm calling her the moon goddess. That's what she looks like. So I just assume. Yugoslavian earth goddess. Interesting that I thought she was the moon goddess. The guise of the goddess. And isn't that the truth? She takes many guises. The divine feminine takes many guises, from the earth, from the moon, from femininity to masculinity as well. The divine goddess is in all aspects of life. So pre-Christian clay figurine, linked to the Sumerians, Inanna, also white buffalo calf woman, the goddess tradition, 400 BC. All ancient tongues are included. So she speaks to us all in her own way. And that makes me quite emotional, because when we refuse to slow down for whatever reason we want to give it, and I'm not downplaying these reasons. I notice I didn't call them excuses. I called them reasons. For whatever reason, we are unable to slow down and to be present. It's a hard world to live in, let's face it. We are not listening or connecting to the goddess, to the divine feminine. You know, we can feel a roar in our emotions and act out on it and suggest that we are roaring for the divine feminine. Or we can listen and we can feel and we can hold space and we can use our bodies as the physical vessel for the cycle that needs to come up through us. And truly, truly, truly be her advocate. So, undergoing some major life changes over the last few years, likely to have taken place in your attitude, personal philosophy, and individual perspective on the world. I can definitely say yes to that. Matured a great deal, major change in your lifestyle or career. Connected to past traditions in the company of women. Very important that your family supports you. The goddess has many identities. You may feel more in tune with Diana or Artemis, Lady of the Wild Things. And it is about finding what aspect of the divine goddess, what aspect of creativity, of cycles of life, of birth, of death resonate with you. Is it the tarot cards? Is it going out in nature and listening to birdsong? Is it in the arms of your lover and creating that bond? Is it in drawing pictures or singing or sexuality? How does the divine goddess choose to speak to you? And listening and creating from there. Strong goddess, aware of the full measure of her powers. No matter which goddess you feel an affinity with, you are a born sensualist. There is complexity in your choices and you often change the course of your actions. Sometimes it's difficult for you to decide whether to be assertive or cooperative. You have a soft quality about you, but there is a core strength that you can easily tap into. So what I'm really getting there is the experience that we learn as we journey with the goddess within us, with the divine feminine within us. There are times to act out. There are times to be. In all of those times, we are held. In all of those times, we have the dark and the light mother. In all of those times, it's not about sitting still doing nothing. It's about balancing the being in our actions. In all of those times, we are connecting to the goddess. All the time we are present. Okay. So, not quite what I expected. But hey, that feels feels poignant for this week. with all of this energy going on and this potential of second chances and much as it can be wonderful, it can be confusing and it can be not quite what we expected. Just pause and feel into what is singing to you, what resonates with you, what you choose to act on. Okay, so we're going to go Mayan energy. Goodness me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's take that card out. Right, so we've now taken the covers. We've now taken the covers off, which is brilliant. Yeah, everything is seen. Everything is raw, naked and vulnerable. Let's go there. Okay, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Overall, we have a lot of people. We have a lot of court cards, a lot of what we are going to do as humans in this reading, and no major arcana. It's like the world has left us to our own devices, you know, and all joking aside, that can feel very much like the dark night of the soul, can't it? That can feel very much like we are abandoned, like nothing makes sense, you know, like we are alone. In that space of the dark night of the soul, what we gather is our own strength as a co-creator, our own soul strength, our own ability to find our own answers from within. So today it is the Ace of Jades, which is the Ace of Pentacles. And what I'm being really drawn to on this card in particular is the jade actually has a serpent wrapped all the way around it. So it may feel like you're at the beginning part of something, when in reality the whole journey, the whole healing path, the whole beauty way has led you to where you are now. All beginnings have endings. So all beginnings are made up of the steps that have been spoken, walked. I can't even get the word walked out of my head. Walk. It's almost like wanting to walk but being able to say it. For Tuesday, I'm also being drawn to the symbol of Saturn. I think it's Saturn on here. Okay. And the plant has many heads, but it looks like hands. And what I'm being drawn to here is many hands make light work. Okay, so very much asking for that help into today in particular. Gosh, I love the Mayan energy, but so it may feel like we might not even know what we need help with or where to begin because it's so vast. So ask for help with that. Where do I begin? Where do I even start to say how I feel, to build what I want to build, to commence my own healing, to change my life? Where do I start? Knowing that actually you've done a lot more than you realise, but asking for help. Where do I start? So from September onwards, I don't normally do like plug things, but from September onwards, I am opening up the doors to healing again. And as I say, there are workshops in the pipeline. If there is anything that you need help with, please don't hesitate to contact me or ask people within your vicinity. Ask the universe, where do I start here? Emphasis being on start. We can often get lost, especially in this energy, if we're trying to figure out all of this. Where do I start? Where do I start? Where do I start? Because on the Wednesday, we have an Ace of Staffs again. So 2 new beginnings there in regards to our place here and what drives us forward. And it can almost feel like we want to chuck the towel in on who we were. Chuck the towel in on what on the lessons that you've learned, on never lose who you are. That's what I'm trying to say. Never lose who you are. Take that forward. So on this card in particular, there's an awful lot of colour. I'm being so drawn to the colour, and that feels very poignant to keep seeing the colour on the Wednesday. There's a jaguar almost hidden in a box. It's just the way the cards are set out, but that's how it feels to see that jaguar almost hidden in the box, to almost be trying to capture jaguar. The very thought makes me chuckle, because jaguar and the medicine wheel is the mind, the emotional mind. It's also death, it's west, it's the thunder beings, it's the release, almost trying to hold that in, that animal instinct, that emotions on the Wednesday. However, jaguar looks quite content to be contained at the moment, and sometimes being tied back, being held back, being restricted, we can set this up so that when we do finally release, it feels so much greater than it is. I'm getting the analogy of the bow and arrow. The further back we feel like we're being pulled, the further forward we can go. So being content with where you are right now, having all these ideas, asking for help, how to move forward, knowing that that is actually the first step, and being content with where you are, knowing that things are changing, they are shifting, they are moving, just by being in that awareness. You can't force it. You can't force contentment. You can't force gratitude. You can't force, that's not acceptance. It is really truly about feeling into where you are. And it might not be where you want to be, but that's the first step. Recognition or recognition. That's what gets this body of ours moving, saying, hang on a minute, this is where I am. Feel into that. Let this awareness start to shift things within us, including if we don't want to be where we are. So on the Thursday, it's the Queen of Jades again. So another pentacle card there, the Queen of Pentacles. And she's there, she's ready, I want to hold them both up, because on the Thursday and the Friday, we have two characters here. We have the Queen of Jades, and she is literally, if I put them that way, you'll be able to see how they came up, facing the Warrior of Jades here, the masculine and the feminine, almost coming together in one energy of their whole journey so far. He's looking away. The masculine is looking away. And what's the masculine looking? I wish I could hold these up in one go, because they tell such a glorious story. The masculine is looking away to the 10 of Cups. This is what he's got his sights on. And the three of them together can get confusing by the end of the week, with a lot of input from outside forces. Ask and ye shall receive. That's what I hear. Ask by all means for help, but remember your own wisdom. That's what I really feel this week in particular, because it's like, but the three of them together, she's expressing what she wants. He's matching her, and he's looking back. His actions, our actions are looking back and are supported by the 10 of Cups, by this vision of creation and birth. Just absolutely stunning, stunning card there. I'm looking at how she's holding the child's head. That's exactly how my head has felt this week in particular, like it's just being expanded and just being opened up. And with that birth, there is compensation, and it's emotional compensation. It's being paid for everything on an emotional level that we have given to create this vision that we are creating. I can't help but see that the Warrior has almost like a black eye. Almost like, the wars through our actions, the fight, the struggle, the hardships, You know, bringing them to the table and seeing the wisdom and the experience in it and the births that they have brought forward. So that would be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Tuesday, Wednesday, some real new beginnings here. If we dare to ask for help and be aware of where we are and ask from that level. You know, yesterday, very much, I just thought, I've tried everything with my health. I really don't know what else to do. Please, I need some help. There's no point me seeing this from any other angle now. This is where I am. I need help because I don't know what to do. The next thing I know, I've phoned my GP. Within 5 minutes, I have an appointment, and it just flowed. So really accepting where you are, and it's hard, but on a deep level, so that we can ask for help in that truth, Because by the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, culminating, these days are coming together. That very much feels like the energy this week, where all the energy is merging into one in every single moment, and it is. We are talking past lives, present lives, potentials, different timelines, all coming together. Keeping that awareness of where you are throughout this sailing in and out of different dimensions. That's what I want to say. Being aware of that, knowing that you are held as the child for the greatest good of what is coming, but really connecting to being held. 10 of Cups, what brings you joy, what brings you pleasure, what brings you into this moment. Yes, it's hard to be in this moment, but there are things that bring us into this moment that we enjoy. Lots and lots and lots of that this week in particular. On the Sunday and the Monday, we have the King of Swords and the Queen of Swords, and they are back to back. They are literally back to back, refusing to almost face each other here. Oh, although when I put them up against the screen, they're not. So this is how they come out. Up against the screen, this is how they come out. So it is really looking at, by the end of the weekend, by the beginning of next week, yes, we are going to know what we want, who we are, what we are connected to. It may not initially tally with everybody else. It may not tally with our actions. You know, we may think this is what I'm yearning for, but this is what I'm doing with my life. How do it's so big. How do I stop doing that to do that? And da-da-da-da-da. And you may find that they are almost back to back, cold shoulder, you know, not willing to face each other. And yet when they do, I've just realised they're not swords, they're cups. When they do, when they get out of their head, out of the belief that it's all coming from the mind, they realise it's on an emotional level, actually, that it is what they want, the pair of them. It is that 10 of Cups. It is still that same vision. It's the many doors of the one door. By taking it to the screen, by really, really looking at what's in front of us and what's being reflected to us. What is ours, what isn't ours? What do we come to the table with? You know, these people both have cups. What do we come to the table with? Yeah, what are our emotions? What are our connections? I almost feel like I want to say gaslighting, but then I'm worried. Yeah, and I will say worried that that's an assumption because of what I see. But it is about going with our instinct here and our intuition here. If something feels off, it's off. It isn't. If it isn't your 10 of Cups, it isn't your 10 of Cups. And being true with that, because only then, in that awareness, will adaptability come if it's supposed to, or change, or whatever. But yeah, what I'm getting is sow and pig's ear. Silk person, pig's ear. Don't make something what it isn't. Accept it, be aware of it. Is this your true desire? What you're truly yearning for? Sunday, Monday in particular. Overall, we have the Knight of Cups. Overall, and on this card it's called the Warrior. if we can almost I'm going to say get out of our need to push our needs without actually looking at them. So he's giving up everything. He's passing it over. This is what I want. This is what I need. But he isn't actually looking at them. He's kind of like, oh gosh, this is what I want. This is what I need. If we can get out of the way of our own needs and allow them to come up and to be expressed without our own judgments and our own assumptions this week in particular, and realize that what we want may actually be for the greater good of the universe and wanted by the universe as well. You know, there's that new flow. That's what I hear. There's that new flow. We may find the energies this week quite crazy, but it's only because we've lost the ability to flow, to float in vastness, to recognize our place on a soul level beyond our need to understand, but to feel. And if we can really do that, if we can really surrender and express our emotions, be it through dance, singing, creating, whatever brings you joy, but being present in that this week, it feels like there's an awful lot of shame that will be lifted. There's an awful lot of guilt and almost service being lifted. And what I see when I see this individual bending, it's like I want to lean down and ask him to rise. And that's how I feel the energies of this week, almost like there's so much support there. Look up at what it is you're asking for. Look up at what it is you're feeling. Feel it into your heart, send it up and rise to greet it, to meet it. As a midwife, I'd see many women almost go right within their self at transition, a bit like the jaguar in the box, right within their self. And there's been so many tales, and I've witnessed it myself, where these individuals will actually go up to a soul level and cool down the child that they are conceiving, that they are birthing. Really, really connecting to what you're feeling, what you're asking for, and sending it up and rising to collect it now. I almost see like a knighthood, like a recognition of the wars of the journey that we've all been through, but we must rise. We must rise our vibration, not from a place of untruth, but from an awareness of all things, and rise from there. So I'm going to do one more card. And it's the Seven of Pentacles. That growth. When we stand up into who we are, we get to pick the fruit that we need to move forward. And now I can see the Warrior of Cups. These emotions, these desires, these things that are being offered to us or asked from by us, being the very things that water our growth. Gosh, can you imagine if we looked back on our life at all the things we've endured, all the things we've gone through, and actually saw it as something that helped us to grow on a soul level? How would you then view all the things you're desiring now? Would there be shame there? Would there be guilt there? Would there be questions there or compromise there? Or if you knew it was truly to help you birth your own soul, you know, you would just ask. You would just ask because you know it's what you need. So really, really, really connecting to that this week. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Double check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just want to double check again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, 4 of Pentacles, and very much there. Double check throughout the week. What are you holding on to? Where does it come from? Does it come from a place of growth? Does it come from a place of lack? Think back to that moon goddess. Is it time to say that's enough now? I just need to be with me right now and figure out what I'm feeling and where I'm at this week. Double check. Where is this coming from? Something from the past? Is it because I don't want to be here and I want that future life? Or is it coming from the present? Double check. Okay, and then there is one. No, I just want to talk about the fact that there is one wand. There is one wand this week in particular, and it is really connecting to your own drive, your own ambition, your own spirit, your own soul, your own desires. Sometimes we can get so caught up in how will that affect that person's life? How can I bring that into my life? How can I do this when I'm actually still doing this for others? And and it just clouds the waters. Connect, or puts out the fire, or rages the fire, which is worse, isn't it? Connect to what it is you desire. Connect to your own soul this week, knowing that everything that you're asking for is for growth of that. Okay, so what I'm seeing now is the Jaguar on the Ace of Wands, and it kind of makes me feel quite tired, like trying to make it about everybody else. In the West, on the Jaguar, we have the space of death, but what we're letting go of is the identity that things are separate from us. What's good for you is good for the people in your life. It's as simple as that. Okay, so it is about really being the parent of your own soul now, the guardian of your own soul. So then there are 1, 2, 3, 4 cup cards. Really look at how you find being in stillness. Really look at any boredom that might come up. Where is it coming from? Really look at what is behind the need to be present and the need to avoid it. What is behind that now? On the 4 of Cups, we are given the gift of something that we couldn't have received if we hadn't sat still. We are sat on top of the 3 of Cups. They are near us, what has been, the celebrations, the births and everything that have been, but they're not quite enough anymore. So rather than create the same thing, we pause, we wait, we connect, we ask for help from the hand of God, basically the hand of Source, our divine higher self. We connect, and that gift is given for us to move forward. You know, we do an awful lot of connecting to our higher self, praying, asking for help, trying to seek this bigger vision. And how often do we do it from a place of actually connecting to that energy that we're asking help from? That's what we do when we're still. And it doesn't mean to sit still, it means to be present. We are connecting to the very energy that we are consuming when we are present. So when we sit and we eat and we taste our food, we're connecting to the food, and we're connecting to the stories of that food, and we're connecting to the just the vastness of it all. You know, whether you eat meat or don't eat meat, or whether it's plant-based, you are connecting to the sun that fed that. You are connecting to the water that that animal or that plant needed to grow. You are connecting to Source. When we aren't present, we're only living half a life. And there is so much magic in being present in every single moment. So, is there anything else? I'm aware it's nearly an hour. Goodness me, that has to be my longest video. And yet my clock doesn't look like it's moved. Isn't that time? Time itself. Okay, so I'm going to do one Phoenix card, and we're going to be really present. What knowledge from all past lives for us all would benefit us the most? I'm looking at a red thread up on a picture that I have on my wall, and the red thread obviously is the divine feminine. And please, 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 those that have a womb, those that are female, male, non-binary, every single gender, every single stage of creation, every single living being, please know I do not mean feminine in any limited phrase. I mean that creative blood force that runs through us all, that connection to the earth, that red thread that connects us all. So I literally have no idea what this is. It looks like a mirror. It looks like a something you would wear over your robes. Okay, and the card next to it has a lot of Arabic writing on, and what I'm really feeling drawn to mention is everything going on in Afghanistan at the moment, and remembering that we are all connected. The divine feminine, I know understandably there's a lot of concern about the restrictions on the women in these countries and everything that is going on. Connect to the freedom that we are all connected, and really, really send that image out to all areas of the world right now. So it looks like a mirror. It looks like something you would wear over your robe. I really have no idea what this card is. I was going to say it means nothing to me, but actually it does. We may not understand things, we may not know where they come from, and we may then say they're not applicable to us. All things are applicable to us. If something comes up and you don't understand it, but it's come into your attention, it's come into your attention for a reason, so it may be related to something you've intended. So let's look. Let's look. What even is that? With curiosity. Oh, I'll show you it first, shall I? See, up against the screen, it's just stunning. Just stunning. Okay. It's a Celtic mirror. Of course, darkness is transformed into light. How beautiful, how beautiful. 1st century BC, Celtic mirror, bronze, 9000 BC. If you choose the Celtic mirror as a past life symbol, you have tremendous insight into the psychology of others. Your understanding of human nature makes you especially perceptive and a potentially gifted psychic. I hope you're all recognising this. Although you would gladly invite psychic visions on the grander scale, your ability tends to be more of an intuitive understanding of the motivation of others. You may have analysed your own motivations for many years, and you're able to tune into the unconscious thoughts of others. There may have been many endings and beginnings in your life when you chose to cut someone out of your life. It will be with great finality, so bear that in mind this week, particularly at the end of the week into the beginning of next week. Really looking at what is going on between you and your actions, you and the reflection of others, because knowing that when you decide enough is enough, it will be enough permanently. Just ensuring, what is it you are seeing? Is it yours? Does it belong to somebody else? In order to survive, you must build a wall of psychic defensiveness. You are neither a snob nor a fool. Negative people simply have no place in your world. Really taking that further, negative energy perhaps, we can accept and be aware. We don't have to feed it. We don't have to add to it. We don't have to, just give it a time out. The subtle rhythms of life within your own body, nature. Again, you have an unusual interest in death and see it as a puzzling transformation from physical matter into spirit. You are fascinated by death and also the transition before birth. This interest may manifest itself in two different ways. You may feel very nervous over the idea of death, or have a mature wisdom about the natural cycles of life and the passing of the soul into the spirit world. There may have been many changes in your life, some of which that have seemed out of your control, have little to do with your goals, wishes or dreams, but in time you will see that these changes come to pass by your own unconscious manoeuvres. Again, it's about going back and looking at everything that has occurred in your life from a vaster perspective. Only then can we see the very things that we desire as soul growth, truly soul growth, without the lack, without the guilt, without the shame, without the self-worth concerns. A lot of things, I see a lot of people, oh, if I do this, this and this, I can get this, this and this. And absolutely, we are co-creators, but who's to say you weren't good enough to get that in the first place? And by showing up and living life and being who you are and just acting in the presence of every moment, that wouldn't have happened anyway. You love a good story, whether it be listening or the telling. After you are finished telling or writing down a story, it is usually much richer and more interesting than when it was first told to you. Your life among the ancient Celts has made you a powerful, transformative individual. You realise that in order to bring positive change in the outer world, an idea must first be born within. Now, I wanted to read the rest of that because it was very much you love a good story, and it is really looking at the stories that we repeat, that we tell ourselves, that we tell each other. And if we want those stories to change, really starting to change them within us first, okay? Seeing the things that we have gone through as part of the path, as part of the experience, but not taking those lessons forward, taking the experience forward of who we are and who we've become. That's what makes the story richer. We don't heal our ancestors by repeating the same patterns. We help to heal them by taking their medicine, their experiences, and taking that forward, not the actual lessons. You know, so if we're constantly bombarded by ill health, and so were our family, what did they gain from that? Strength and underlying knowledge of different types of medicines. Take that forward, take the gifts forward now. If we really want to make a beautiful story here, we start with ourselves, the hero. Yeah, what's our happy ending? Start with that within us. What is it we are trying to achieve? Start with that. Ask for help, but start with that, not what we're trying to not achieve anymore. So I do want to look up that other Arabic card. And again, I am making a total assumption that it is Arabic. I have no knowing of this. And that feels very poignant, making an assumption that it is a certain belief, a certain energy that is behind what we see. It's actually Islamic, and it's the crescent and the star, and it's called submission to God. My cat calling. You thrive on change and are constantly transforming yourself into something entirely new. It's no coincidence that you present an awesome appearance that never fails to attract attention. Your eyes mirror the complexity of your soul. Your past life among the early Islamic peoples has made you a person of great character and pronounced willpower. Although associates may not like you at first, they will always come to admire you. Your special wisdom about God and different faiths brings much light to an orphaned world hidden in its shadows. I can't ignore the fact that my cat is calling, so that feels really poignant. Gosh, the light that's coming through now I've opened the door. Don't ignore what's calling you. Submit to that God source in you, whether it's I don't want to shut out the light. Actually, I refuse to shut out the light. So whether it is your emotions, whether it is your soul purpose, whether it is a religion, don't ignore that is calling to you. Open the door to it now. It's one thing to protect ourselves from others, but what about when we are restricting ourselves from ourselves? Really, really opening up this week in particular and taking a good hard look at the light that we are. Yeah. Gosh, yeah, that feels like that's enough. That's enough. It's an hour and 3 minutes. So I'm going to leave it there and take care. See your splendor, see your beauty, see your light, because that is the biggest door that needs to be open. Okay, the biggest portal that you can walk through. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful week. Take care.